Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another classic movie review. Today we are talking about The Wasp Woman. This is a 1959 flick. This joint was crazy.
The fountain of youth and hubris of women. This is what this movie
Dude,
is.
oh my goodness, This joint, IMDb gave it a 4.8. This is like, they're getting all this stuff, right now. But it did have 10,000 reviews too, so that's kind of cool too. What you think about this joint, man?
This movie is wild. Hey, you can't put it into words how wild this movie is, because it has all the sexism of 1959 with science fiction, and then it's got like a woman boss. She's running her own company. She's doing girl power things, and then hubris, and then you have like a mad scientist level thing in here too, all wrapped up together in one movie. Like,
Yeah.
how do you explain this movie to somebody? Like,
Yeah.
this crazy boss lady decided to take too much collagen in their body, whatever. Like, she got the wasp stuff. She got wasp juice. She's got
Dude,
jelly.
the whole premise of this was, okay, so first of all, let me just speak about this. The level of sexism, the disrespect of women in this film is so ridiculous.
It is terrible.
That is just the way things were in the 50s and 60s. Yes. It's crazy.
It's like Mad Men on steroids. The way these
so
dudes are talking,
insane.
The movie opens up with some mid-level advertising guy at a company talking to his boss like, yo, you're the problem. You know what's the problem with this company? Women. That's how he starts the movie.
Like, you could do this? I mean, throughout the entire movie, even though her name was like on the Office and everything, right? Janice
Sterling, that's her company.
Starling, huh? It did not even feel like she was the boss, just the way these men were talking about her. I was just like, dude, really? Wow, this is crazy.
And the guy was smart that was talking to her because he had a pipe. Like,
oh
the way movies do.
Like, listen,
this guy's puffing that pipe. He's a genius.
And you know what? When you watch these old classic films and you see a guy smoking a pipe, he is always wearing a bow tie. Always.
Yeah, and he's always the smartest person in the room. Always.
The other thing is, if you're sitting down smoking a pipe, you got to cross your legs. And if you're standing up, you got to have one hand in your pocket. You got to look cool.
Yeah, you got to have the hand in there. And he's just like, this is the pipe. Yeah, so that makes sense. That makes sense. The funny part is, like, this movie is written by people who don't know anything about science. They know nothing about science.
Oh, my goodness.
Science hasn't even popped into their brain. They just wrote a movie about a wasp lady. And they're like, all right, we're done. You want to do any research? Now we're good.
This felt like a school project, just like a college project, just like $50,000. $50,000 was a lot of money, like we said back in '59. If you made $50,000, you were in the upper class or upper middle class. You lived in a nice home, you lived in the burbs, the whole nine, right? So she was and the other interesting thing about this, and it was also interesting with the last film we watched in terms of what was it, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, right?
Yeah.
Probably 30%, a third of the movie was nothing but music. I mean, you had the scenes and everything, but it was music, right?
Yeah, there are a couple montages in this movie.
Yeah.
Like when they putting the lab together in the montage.
Yeah. So I was asking myself, I was like, so dude, you know what? Looking at these classic films and seeing that there's just like in scenes, nothing but music, no talking. I'm like, dude, the people, the producers who scored these movies back in the day, man, they must have been rock stars, huh?
Dude, that dude with the saxophone and the piccolo was knocking things down in this movie, yo.
True.
They're banging everything out,
yo. He was a one-man band like Prince and whatnot, right? You ever see those like monkeys that are like playing the drums, the cymbals, and like, like with their feet and hands and everything, just like everything. Piano with their face and everything. I'm like, this guy must have been getting paid. So.
Right? Oh my god, it's hilarious.
You spoke about
because they got to get the buzzing sound in this thing. So
oh my goodness, forget it, dude, forget it. You said something. We were talking about this offline. You were saying that this woman, Janice, she's only 40 years old, but she's 40 years old and 59.
They they were talking to her like she was in a nursing home with she she got a little thing on her napkin over her legs or whatever. Like
Let it throw.
they looked at her like they rolled her into the office in her wheelchair. Like, okay,
Dude.
Granny, what are you gonna do with this company? That's the way they're talking to her. She's 40. That was insane to me.
And
That's wild how times have changed. Like you're over the hill at 40 right now.
listen, it's so weird because like in the 50s and 60s, right? A woman.
Hmm.
Now we're talking about a woman, how women were treated back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so at 40, as a woman, you probably were considered like done in the 50s
hmm,
and 60s.
yeah,
Today, if you're, just climbing the corporate ladder, 40s, you're just getting into it at 40,
yeah.
you know?
He just getting going. The
Yeah.
the funny thing too about this is that the way you could tell her age was they put glasses on her and they changed her hair a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's how you knew this is the old Sterling and this is the new Sterling.
Right.
She's coming to the office in her heels and looking all fresh, whatever, because took her glasses off. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all they did for the makeup. It
Hmm.
wasn't anything different. But like that's how you could tell like she's young and beautiful again. And
Yeah.
then a hilarious part is they asked her, "How old do you think I look?" She's like 23. You're like, "What?"
She
That
said
was the great
23, maybe 22. And she was like, I created this company at 22, 18 years ago. And she's like, wow. So it's just like,
Wild.
dude, I mean, today, sometimes you see someone, I have uncles and aunts and everything, even
Hmm.
sisters in their 50s and 60s. Dude, they look like
Hmm.
they're 40.
Yeah, that's the black don't crack though. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
I'm just like, what? But but I'll tell you something else about this. Janice, right, the lead act,
Hmm.
the lead in this joint, dude.
Hmm.
Her fashion was off the chain. Did you see that like checker coat she had on? I was
Yeah,
like, the
everything's
fashion
nice.
was off the
I
chain. I was
That's
like,
the one
wow,
thing I liked about the old when I watch classic movies. Like the fashion is great. It's amazing what people used to wear.
wow,
Everybody's on point. Everybody in the movie's looking on point. Even though crazy scientist guy, he's got nice suits on. Like that's part of
yeah.
the thing, the culture back then. Everyone dressed nice. Their pants were down to their knees and wearing like clothes that you should like is obscene clothes in the office. Like everybody looked fashionable. And, the pencil skirts, whatever. Everything looked nice. I like that. I like the aesthetics of it all. But yeah,
This
this movie's
crazy.
interesting.
So the Wasp Woman
Mhm.
is basically she's taking the serum and it just goes haywire, and then at night
Yes.
or when she gets angry, she turns into a wasp and she starts
Oh,
killing people.
she gets the headaches.
Yes.
She gets the headaches, and then
Hmm.
she just turns into a wasp. Like literally, she turns into a wasp with the
Literally.
hairy hands and the hairy mask, but
Yeah.
she's still wearing her dress and her heels and everything like that.
Isn't
I
it
I
weird?
cracked up.
Here's the weird thing. She goes in. She has on like that tight brown dress, which was that dress was slick. It was slick. It was a mock neck too, right?
Hmm. It's
When she
banging.
has on
Everything
a
was
brown
banging.
dress, but when she
Hmm.
turns into a wasp, her outfit becomes black.
There's no continuity at all.
Yo, and it's also like when she's moving around, like she's dark,
Hmm.
but everything else around her is a little lit up,
Yeah, it's like well lit.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So they basically did a
overhead
light
or
that
something,
just
right?
like so you just see the eyes, the weird
Right.
bee's eyes,
Yeah.
whatever, and then you see the antennas and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and that must have been horrifying back in the day when people saw that. They're like, I
Right.
can't look at this. This is like rated R, like whatever.
And how she found out, or how at least people was figuring things out, is because
Mhm.
staff started to disappear.
Yeah, people disappearing. Now
You
I have
know?
a question for you. Now, did she know she was doing the wasp lady stuff with this? Like, she go crazy, lose her mind, or was she aware that she was a wasp lady at a time when she turned back to human?
You know what? It
I
kind of
think she
felt
knows.
but you know what? It kind of felt like she didn't know, though. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah,
She,
yeah. That's what I'm
I
saying. It
think,
wasn't clear. It's ambiguous, but
yeah,
I feel sometimes some parts she seemed like she knew. Like when the secretary came in the room and trying to call the police, she slapped her, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh, yeah, I just wanted to calm you down. Like everything's fine. Don't worry about everything that's
Calm
going on."
yourself down, you know?
Yeah, and then when the guy with the pipe disappeared, she was like, "Oh, that guy, he's just going on a trip. Don't worry about him. He's fine."
He'll be in
So
Europe for
like,
like the rest of his life.
yeah, yeah. So like the way she was talking about certain things, it seemed like she was aware that she murdered everybody in the office, but also sometimes it seems like that's the writing part. This
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the writers they didn't know anything about science
Yeah.
or her writing. They just winged
Because,
it.
just if she did know that she was turning into a wasp,
Mhm.
she was reckless because she was still like going in and like stealing the serum to like, inject
Yeah,
herself.
yeah.
Speaking of that,
She pumped 2 gallons of that serum
dude,
into her, like
she was like, I need more Vaseline,
Yeah, she's the doctor, like, "Give me the serum.
She was
Where's the
like,
serum?"
oh my goodness, right? So the second time she went in and like, got some serum, the needle was like
Mhm.
this big, dude. It was
That was
like
a
this big.
horse. That was a
It was
horse
this big.
needle.
And I was like,
Yeah.
wow. So she kept asking for Vaseline. She was like, yo, this Vaseline is really good. It works. I need more Vaseline, for real. I mean, because that's what they, it was so weird. They're saying like the enzyme from the
Yeah.
wasp was royal jelly.
Yeah, they said the jelly. That's he kept saying, like, jelly. That's
They
the
were
new
calling it
scientific,
royal jelly. Yeah. And it's just
yeah.
like, so she was just like, wow, this Vaseline really works. I need another dose of this, right? And I'm just like, so she was
It
going
was
in, like still in the Vaseline, shooting herself. And here's the other thing. Here's the other crazy thing.
Mhm.
A girl was going into a lab, right?
Mhm.
And she was like taking needles, it seemed like out of a
It's
sterilized
a random
tray.
needle, like,
Right. But she was
just
shooting herself and
sterilize
kept
it.
putting them back in the tray, dude. She was just like bam,
Right?
bam, bam. And I was just like,
Uh,
where's the steam or something?
this is Trilogelium junkie right there, man. She's a
See,
crackhead for
that's
jelly.
what happens.
I would assume that it would have been like some kind of like cream that she rubs on her face. Why would it be a needle? But
Yeah.
doing that make more sense? It would be like some because you can't sell a needle for makeup. You would sell cream.
Right. And here's the other thing, right? So
Mhm.
a cream would have been much better because she was like, okay,
It's
this works.
logical.
Let's create the
You rub it
campaign,
on your face, all of a sudden the
right.
wrinkles go away, your face is smoother,
Yeah.
whatever.
So,
Like
that's what
that
it
makes
was all
more
about.
sense.
Exactly. And that's what it was all about. Like she needs another
Mhm.
product so she can be back on top. And in order to do
Yeah.
that, first she needed to look young and then she needed a beauty product. But I don't know
Mhm.
how ethics were like back in the day, but they were
No, they
just going
had
to put this
ethics.
on the market like a needle.
They wouldn't let the guy said it. What did the guy with was the guy with the pipe? He's like, we can't sell this thing like this. Like he called it out.
Yeah.
He called
It's
it
just
out.
like,
They
get
had
yours
ethics back
today.
then.
Be
They knew
20
better.
years younger. Take the needle. Next thing you know, you have like tracks like you are like a junkie or
Yeah.
something and
He
everything.
was
I'm
saying
just
like
like,
we're,
come
we're
on.
gonna have problems selling this product like this or whatever. He said something to
Yeah.
that effect. But the writers were aware this is insane.
Yeah.
They still wrote it in there anyway.
Okay, dude. So here's the other funny thing, right? So the doctor found out that, whoa, wait a minute. The animals that I'm injecting here, this
Mhm.
cat turned into a wasp.
That cat. Oh my
And then
god, the
and then
cat.
attacked the doctor.
That
That
cat
joint was
jumped
like,
out the ceiling like,
wow. It had like it had like a meow slash buzzing sound. It was like meow, meow. It's just like, dude, listen. Here's the other thing. How did he kill it? Did he like sever his head? Like, did he chop it
no,
up? It
he
looked like
broke
he.
his neck. He broke
Oh
his
my
neck.
goodness, for real. It was
He's out here like,
first of all, the struggle with the cat. Let's just say the cat turned into a wasp, right? How strong is the wasp?
bro.
You know?
Apparently she had superpowers. She's throwing people around though.
Oh, dude, man. She was like, I mean, wow, this joint is so crazy, man. These
Funny.
classic films are so funny. They are so
They're
good.
intentionally and unintentionally funny. Like we had
Yeah.
Square Dance and the World of Worlds,
Yep.
Square Dance.
Mhm.
Like
We had the head and like the
yeah,
brain that wouldn't die, and then a monster, in the back. you know, the stripper with like a deformed face, you know, just like, come on, you know, the time traveler when they were just like walking
Bro.
out of a window. Come on, you know, come on. This stuff was, but you know, the other
Funny.
thing is this though, right?
Mhm.
And think about like what we've been watching thus far in terms of classic films, right? All of them
Yeah.
are sort of different and interesting, right? In their own right. Again, back in the
Yeah, yeah.
50s and 60s, right? Check out
Mhm.
what we're watching today. A lot of stuff is being regurgitated, remade. It's just like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
let's make
They
another like
take a little bit of
Transformers
it, and then they switch
18.
it around,
Right,
change up a little
exactly. You
bit.
know, hey,
Still
this
same
movie was
premise, though.
cool. Let's remake it. This is a book. That's why
Mhm.
people are buying books and saying, you know what, I'm gonna buy a book and then I'm gonna develop this project, you know. So
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, this is pretty cool. And
It
so
was fun.
in the
It was
end,
silly
how
fun.
did she die, dude, in the end?
She threw her out a window.
Oh boy, okay, so they were fighting old girl in a lab, right? First of all,
Yeah.
that was also
Mhm.
kind of weird because you're fighting in a chemistry lab. You know, it's not like a
Well,
DJ lab.
in a normal movie, like a 2023 movie, that lab would have caught on fire, and they would have
Exactly.
fighting in the fire. We all know
Exactly.
that would have happened, and
Yeah.
and the people would get burned or whatever, whatever. The 1959 movie, they're like, we're in a lab, all these beakers, everything is flammable, nothing catches on fire.
and then
She's
and
breaking
then
everything too.
dude, and then wait a minute, two funny things. Like first how she died, but
Mhm,
the first one was when old
mhm.
boy was trying to break into the lab and he kicked the door. He kicked the door,
Oh my
the glass like
god.
the glass broke
Dude,
after he kicked the door, then the sound effect
bro,
happened like after the fact.
yes. The reality is, if that was real, that guy would kick his leg and cut his artery and die right there.
True.
He would have fell right in the guy. That was a wrap. He didn't even
They
get
were
inside the
like,
lab.
they didn't, you know what? They didn't have the money to retake this either. Like, oh, let's shoot it again. They're like, dude, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And then old girl, she was in a lab and, you know, old boy was trying to fight her with a chair, a stool, right? And so he was like, right? And so next thing you know, she just posted up, like she's standing up next to a window. So old boy like bum rushed her
Whoa.
with the
Yeah.
stool, pushed her out the window.
Now,
The plexiglass broke again.
I thought she was gonna grow some wings and fly away.
So that's the thing, you know. I was just
That
like,
would have
the
made
Wasp
sense.
Woman did not fly.
It
The
would have made
Wasp
sense
Woman
though.
did not fly at all, but it would have made a lot of sense. You're
It would
right.
have made sense if she grew some wings like Mothra or whatever and just flew away.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all
Like
right,
it's
fair
just
enough.
right, you know, it would have been cooler like if she was able to like fly to different cities, different
Yeah,
locations,
yeah,
you know, like maybe
yeah.
create a Wasp crew or something like that, you know.
Mhm.
Just like I don't know, but this film was pretty dope. What are you gonna rate this film, man?
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I give it a 7.5. I laughed, I cried. It's got terror, suspense, everything all together. It's got sexism. It's all on top of each other. It's a pile on top of each other of a hilarious sandwich of insanity. This movie's insane. Everything
Yeah.
about this movie is insane. Ridiculous. Doesn't even get to describe it. Just
Yeah,
wild.
it's pretty wild. I'm gonna give this an 8. This was a wild movie, fun
Mhm.
movie to watch. Other cool thing about this movie is with an estimated budget of $50,000,
Mhm.
they did a really good job with the storytelling. I mean, they built the story
Yeah.
up. This was only an hour and like 10 hour and 20-minute long movie.
Yeah, it was
So
quick. It was in and out. It was
yeah,
like boom, boom,
they
done.
built the story up for like a good 20-30 minutes before they got into the Wasp
Yeah.
part, right?
There was no action for like 60 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
And
So
then the
it was
last
just
action,
like
10 minutes of action.
exactly. So this was yeah, I'm giving this an 8, man. This is like these classic films are really fun, and it seems like Amazon Prime is just loading up on these joints, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, and you can watch
It's
them with
free
no
content.
ads either. Yeah,
Like who do they have to
totally
pay to get
awesome.
the rights for this movie? I think they were like, here, you give us the 2 month subscription, we'll give you the movie. Like it seems like that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever. Nobody
The
cares.
the other the other thing is this, like these like movies from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like they're just
Mhm.
sitting on a shelf somewhere. Why not just
Yeah,
license them
yeah.
out and make money, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't understand. Like, so this is good.
This
You
is
know, this
basically
is good for
free.
like everyone. Yeah, I
This
really
this is basically
love
free.
I love the catalog of old classic films that Amazon has now posted to their, Amazon Prime platform. It's pretty cool. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.